Woohoo! Alrighty. Hey, we're getting live here. We're getting set up here if you're on with us for Indie Mayhem Show. And then we're going to get into Wrestling Mayhem Show in just a little bit. So just, like I said, setting some things up. We're going to call our guest and get things lined up here. Eamon's with me. Hey, Eamon.
Hey, how's it going?
So we have kind of a different stream situation going. So yeah, a little bit different. We'll see what we can do with this. How do I? Uh oh. Where's the button for me to call people? Oh, there it is. Found it. We're good. This will be John Thorne of Absolute Intense Wrestling. I always feel like I'm missing like parts of that. You know what I mean? Absolutely intensitable wrestling. Eamon, like I said, I think if you're cool with that, let's can we put a short ender on this after the interview, and that'll probably be all for this week's episode.
Okay, that's fine.
For those wondering, we're going to probably end up doing. We're going to rework some of the scheduling stuff and kind of a little bit of format of the show with things since we obviously had to kind of. Yeah, we had to move shows around with what they did with SmackDown. We can't ignore it. So we're going to see what we can do with that.
Hello?
Hey, John.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? Sorg here, and my buddy Eamon is on the line, too.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
How's it going?
So
It's going good.
We are live on the YouTubes. I think I have...
Live? Wow.
We are live.
Lots of pressure.
So I'll send out a tweet and get you guys tagged real quick. Completely caught up on all the podcasts today, too. I was behind a couple weeks.
Man, I honestly never in a million years thought I would be a podcaster.
You guys...
This was actually the first... This show was actually the first podcast I ever did in my life. I was so nervous. I had nothing to talk about. Now,
I saw that.
I have my own.
Now we have like 10 years of stuff to catch up on.
Oh, my God.
All right, so
it's been quite some time.
We're going to get right into this. We'll do an intro for the show, like our general introductory stuff, and then we'll introduce you after that. So it'll be like a minute
Sounds
or two.
Good.
We're going to, like, when we finish the interview with you, like, we'll kind of wrap with you and give us a minute if you want to stay on the line for a minute to BS a little afterwards. Cool. We're just going to wrap the show up after your thing and not do discussion like we usually do. So,
sound good.
All right. And we have our general kind of line of questions, and we'll see where we go from there. I'm sure Eamon's got a few questions being involved in a promotion down there in Texas too. So,
yeah, man, I'm an open book.
All right.
Awesome.
Hold on, I gotta make sure some stuff isn't gonna pop up. You got me super conscious after your photo bucket story on the one show. I'm like, I gotta make sure I don't have stuff pop up in the background that's like really super secret stuff.
Yeah, man, that was a 100% true story. That's how a lot of decisions were made based off beating the other guys to the punch after seeing what their photo bucket had coming up.
That's great. That's a great loophole.
I mean, it's funny. It's because of that. That's how we developed such a great relationship with Colt Cabana, because we booked him right off of WWE, like on a date before they had him, and then we just kept booking him, and now we're like really great friends, all pretty much based off just trying to outdo them on the photo bucket.
All right, let me just tag this. Wrestling.com. I'll throw some visuals up as we talk about things too. I tossed your cover photo from your Facebook on here because I love how it's a lineup with like Cross and Gargano and all the guys. I think it's a good context for what we'll be talking about.
Yeah, that's like we were actually featured in a magazine, and that's like a magazine photo shoot.
Oh, nice.
I gotta see the last time we put. We're just coming back from a break for this show, so I don't remember what number we're at. I do got to ask, are you guys like doing those shows kind of like in a batch of like a bunch of them at a time?
Yeah, we use a studio, like an actual real recording studio, and we go
Nice.
knock out like a month at a time. We do four episodes in one night. We usually tape on a Monday. We're on a TNA like podcasting schedule.
Yeah, we've actually been thinking about. We were just talking about maybe doing that with this show since they're kind of like not as timely in interviews and stuff, and since we're kind of tossing around our schedule here.
It's great. We hooked up with these guys from the This Is Awesome Wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
There's like a small scale like podcast one empire in Cleveland for like local celebrities and stuff.
Nice.
Just like a local podcast network, and they have like a real recording studio and like a real space. And then This is Awesome Wrestling podcast guys. They come and we let them get interviews at AIW and stuff like that. So they produce everything for us. They let us use the studio space and everything.
Nice,
So
nice.
it works out great because I know nothing about technology really.
Nice. Yeah, we got a few groups. We're all kind of working together to try to build something around here in Pittsburgh too. So
Yeah, it's called CLE Sound, and like, you know, I think like the Republican National Convention is like using their recording space and all kinds of stuff.
nice. We should be talking about this on the show, actually.
Hey man, we could get right back to it.
All right. Let me get this recording. We'll get started. I think this is 125. And my mouse doesn't work here, and that's weird. Huh. And recording. Here we go. Hey guys, it's the Indie Mayhem Show. It's back after a little bit of a hiatus. Hey, a little bit of juggling around here because thank you, WWE. Thank you for all that scheduling stuff. Yeah, got us and TNA running around figuring out what we need to do. But it is the Indie Mayhem Show. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on Twitter. And video producer here in the Pittsburgh area with, of course, the International Wrestling Cartel, Renegade Wrestling Alliance, and damn it, it's still getting pressed. The Montreal Theory did some work on that as well. With me from San Antonio, Texas, he is the voice of Inspire Pro Wrestling that works out of Austin, Texas. He's Eamon Payton, back with me.
Very excited to be back, Sorg. I miss talking about indie wrestling with you.
Yes.
It's a nice little tradition we do every week.
Yes, and we're back at it, and that's awesome. We got a great somebody representing a whole nother promotion out of Cleveland with the AIW tonight. We'll get to that in one moment. In the meantime, check out everything at WrestlingMayhemShow.com, where you'll find the Indie Mayhem Show as well as stuff like the Midweek War. Just had some recent awesome discussions with Chris DeJoseph, co-executive producer of Lucha Underground, and Vampiro, just popping up and saying hi and having an impromptu interview with the guys on Google Hangout. Raw wrap-ups, Wrestling Mayhem Show, and just other great stuff. If you want to see what the guys thought of the final deletion, this is the stuff that's come up since we've had an Indie Mayhem Show in like the 3 or 4 weeks since we've done this thing. But we're back, and we've not been sleeping on things. So go check it out and subscribe to all the shows at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. This week, I'm very excited to have a guest return to the Mayhem Network. We had him on ages ago. I think I found the tweet that our guest tonight, John Thorne of Absolute Intense Wrestling up in Cleveland, Ohio, has not been here since 2009. And you disclosed an interesting fact about that, right, John?
Yeah, that was actually my first ever podcast interview ever. And now I return and I have my own podcast, so it's been a long, long time.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. And of course, I want to get into all that kind of stuff, but first, we like to kind of have people get to know you a little bit here on the Indie Mayhem Show.
Let's do it.
First
I
question.
haven't been here in almost a decade.
First question, because obviously you're deep in this. You're neck deep into this right now. But
Oh yeah.
what was your introduction to wrestling? What's your earliest memory of wrestling that really kind of got you hooked?
I mean, I've been asked this question before, and I really can't pinpoint a specific thing. I know it's probably something to do with Hulk Hogan. And I remember my dad taking me to house shows at the old Richfield Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio. But a specific moment that stands out, I can't really pinpoint that. But I was definitely like a little Hulkamaniac, and during that, the late 80s, I would say, probably like 87 or 88 would probably be, my earliest memories.
Awesome. And of course, I know we probably talked about this a bit before, I don't know, the 8 years ago, whenever you were on, but how did you come from that to running a promotion like AIW?
I honestly got involved in wrestling in the most unconventional way possible. When I was 15 years old in 1999, I figured out a way to promote my own actual independent wrestling show. Something like that could never in a million years happen in this day and age. But I was 15, and I was in my math class, and this dude, Joe, was like, hey, my cousin's he's a pro wrestler. And I was like, no way, who? And it was just, I didn't really know anything about indie wrestling or anything like that. And, he gave me this guy's phone number, JT Lightning, and I called him up, and he had no idea I was only 15 years old, and he's like, yeah, you can run my ring for $300, and you got to put me on the show. And I was like, okay, sounds great. And I ended up running a venue, like a local church gym by, in the town I grew up in, Brecksville, Ohio. And, the rest is kind of history. I promoted a show with JT Lightning on the card, and then me and a bunch of my friends from high school. And that also featured, that was Josh Prohibition and M-Dog 20's, Matt Cross's first ever experience in a pro wrestling ring, a real ring from their days in the backyard. And then I just kind of stayed involved ever since. And, man, that was in 1999. So I've been doing this for quite some time, but it took years and years and years of doing everything the wrong way to finally, see everything click together.
That's awesome. And of course, I'll leave that to your podcast about some of the details on how that is, because it's been really eye-opening from looking at promoter side of how that history has been for you guys. But talking about AIW in particular, I finally experienced my first AIW show last year with Absolution. I had to, since it was one of Pedro's last shows. And Eamon and I both narrowly saw an Absolution several years ago when Daniel Bryan joined you guys in that stint where he was fired from WWE. We actually went up for the Chikara show and unfortunately couldn't stick around for yours. But we talk about you guys about every other week here. You're getting a lot of attention. It's always been kind of on people's lists for a while. Of course, friends of the show like Jimmy DeMarco, Shima Zion have been, Zima, of course, today, have been involved with you guys for years. Can you tell us a little bit about that rise? You're on Absolution 11 coming up here this weekend, actually. Can you talk about that ride a little bit? Like, how's that been for you?
I mean, it's I'm not going to say it's been easy or even necessarily fun at sometimes, but it's just, I think it's just a matter of being consistent and a lot of trial and error. When we first started AIW, I was 21 years old. So my priorities were completely different than what my priorities are now, 11 years later. When we first started AIW, we just were trying to have a good time and put on our own young version of wrestling in concert clubs and, just kind of trying to be controversial and do all this, crazy stuff and just kind of go against the grain of what the local scene was in Cleveland. And then as the years progressed and, more money came in, we were able to spend more money. And it was a very slow process. We get a little bit, of success, and then we just kept reinvesting it. We're one of the probably few promoters and few promotions that don't pay ourselves at all from the shows. We take everything that comes in and we 100% reinvest it towards the future. And we've just been doing that, ever since day one. And it's taken a long, long time. But, we got to this point to where we just kind of got on a roll. And as, more money came in, we were able to spend more money and the shows got better and better and better and better. And as the shows got better, we got more attention and more DVD sales and more video sales. And especially with the evolution of things like social media, when AIW started, there wasn't really social media. There was Friendster, you know what I mean? So we've come a long way in that aspect too, and really utilizing, things like Facebook and Twitter and especially YouTube. Our YouTube has really, really helped, help us grow. I think, I checked it earlier today because I'm OCD about what our numbers are on everything. And I think, we just cracked 12 million views on YouTube, and we're about to hit 20,000 subscribers. So just things like that. It's been a long process, but I would say just staying consistent and, like never canceling shows and things like that. And always just trying to give people their money's worth and a real word of mouth type of thing. Like we very much believe in the do-it-yourself, DIY kind of mindset, to where, people see that their money isn't going in my pocket. They see us investing 100% in the show, and people really get behind that, and it becomes kind of like everyone is in this thing together sort of thing. And that, that has really helped us. That mindset has really helped us grow quite a bit, especially probably in the last 3 years.
Certainly. I mean, I remember early shows. I didn't, I remember early shows. Probably the first thing I saw of AIW was you guys in a bar doing a live commentary, and like DeMarco and Shima like destroying the bar, or whatever else craziness was going on around there. I think Drag to Hell was one of those first shows, which I think was what you were promoting when you were on last. Yeah, that's the thing. That's just like the evolution, when we started, there was a lot of people that were against the live commentary, and we were doing it to just be different. That was all there was to it. The other indie shows in the area were traditional wrestling. We wanted to have live commentary just to be different. We wanted to just do everything we could to be different. And then, as we evolved and things kind of progressed, we phased that out. We started hiring Smart Mark Video. We started focusing on, the actual good quality video product. So, like I said, it's just been a very, very slow evolution. But I really wouldn't have it any other way, because honestly, you can't pay for an education like this, being a promoter for, this long and, experiencing all these different problems and changes and, just how everything is, how things were 10 years ago is completely different now, and just to be able to navigate through all that change and all that, evolution of even society as a whole, I wouldn't change for anything, because it's been so helpful to learn the hard way. Certainly. Well, from that, and also, let's talk about a little bit about the podcast. And I always get this wrong. The card will change, I believe, is the name of it, right? The card is going. The card is going to change. I screwed this up yesterday when I was talking to somebody about your show. To me, it's just like, hey, AIW's podcast. Go listen to it. Go, and I don't get to the name of it. But I've been enjoying it a whole bunch. Again, your interesting stories about honky tonk man in hotel rooms in Detroit, problems with the Canadian government, and just the absolute hell from the initial Grado intended 3-night stand you were going to do. It's really eye opening, and I've heard like some of these stories in from working with some of the people I've worked with down here or up there with Prime Wrestling or anything like that. But I think it's really cool. You're the only ones I'm aware of that are this revealing about the promoter side of the business in public. Yes. There's really been nothing like it. I'll be the first to tell you that I never in a million years thought I would be a podcaster or wanted to start a podcast. But all these things happen, and it would kind of bother us, because no matter what would happen out of our control, that always falls on AIW or the promotion. People don't understand all of the different problems that independent promoters have to deal with. And, it was actually Mike Burns, who owns Smart Mark Video, who was really on me specifically to, hey, you guys should start a podcast. You guys should talk about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, there's I thought, just like everybody else in the world, another wrestling podcast. Like, I really don't want to do it. And, as things just kind of, progressed with problems that we have and things like that, I was like, all right, you know what? I'll give it a try, because there isn't really anything like this. The majority of promoters that go on podcasts, they just go on and they just want to shill things and they just want to try to get your money.
we just want to go on and tell our side of the story, and, you know, maybe people will be interested in it. I didn't think that we would get such great feedback and such great numbers, because, you know, I was just like, I can't imagine in a million years people are going to be so interested in this stuff, because I think maybe because I'm too far in the bubble of being involved in the industry. This stuff is just normal to me. The things that, you know, the stories that we tell in this podcast, and I didn't realize how, you know, just how much of it is so interesting to, you know, people that aren't involved in the industry and people that actually are involved in the industry. I've had several promoters contact me and just like thank me for kind of going on and explaining these sorts of things. So, honestly, I didn't want to be a podcaster, but now it's kind of like, I kind of feel like, you know, we are filling a void that wasn't there.
Certainly.
And I think one of the things that I think a lot of people love about AIW, especially, is your guys' transparency with that kind of stuff. And like you mentioned, you know, fans, like you said, sometimes stuff happens in wrestling, and it's almost like if fans knew what was behind that, you know, they would get a better understanding of like what it takes to put on a wrestling show. I guess, would you say that's a relief to you to kind of tell people like this is what it takes to kind of actually put on a wrestling show? It's not as easy as most people may think.
Right. Well, yeah, and like you said, the transparency. You know, we've actually been people have like been rubbed wrong by us because we're so transparent, but it's very easy to take a tweet or something written out of context and, you know, interpret it in your own way. You know, we could explain a situation and someone can be like, oh, you know, they're just trying to make that wrestler look bad or this and that. So, you know, we were trying to find like a medium to be like, you know, no, we're not trying to be negative. We're just trying to explain things for real and not insult the intelligence of fans.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when we would do stuff like that, we would get attacked, you know, on things like Twitter and stuff like that by just saying like, hey, you know, this dude isn't here because he's going to a football game. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, what are you burying him in what he does in his personal time for? It's just like, we're not burying him. This is just literally the excuse that we were given as to why they aren't going to be at the show. So, you know, I think the podcast, we're able to give a lot more context to some of these stories and explain them in depth and make people understand our side of the story. And, you know, that we're not trying to be assholes or, you know, be negative. We're just trying to be honest. And I feel that that's a quality that is so lacking in independent wrestling as a whole. You know, we just want to be real, and we don't want to, you know, have to lie to our fans or, you know, anything like that. So I think the podcast is kind of a relief on our end in the fact that we can fully explain ourselves on so many different topics.
Totally. And I think back to the podcast you guys did talking about the Grado Comes to America weekend of events you were going to do, and the whole issue with TNA pulling in and stuff like that. And it makes you think like, wow, like I can't even imagine how much stress that must have been on you guys, you know, especially with all that was built up for it. So
it was unreal. Like we'd never ever tried to do a triple shot before. We were only doing it because we purchased this very expensive flight from Europe, you know, from Scotland. And we were trying to make the best of it, and we were trying to, you know, do something cool with the weekend, and it fell apart so quickly. And it's just like, how do you explain to people, like, you know, okay, like, how many people would even pay attention enough to TNA to know that Grado was on a show that was airing in Europe, and they were going to pull him to be filmed in America that weekend? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's so hard, you know, and we don't want to assume that everybody is, you know, in touch with everything. So it was such a stressful time for us. And, you know, it was so bad with, you know, then on top of that, all the other border problems and different things we had to deal with, because, you know, on paper, that weekend was supposed to be so much different than how it turned out. And that's kind of, you know, why we decided to name our podcast The Card Is Going to Change, because stuff like that happens all the time to us. We have this like awesome card written down on paper, and, you know, we'll have this like 4 months worth of an angle all booked out and ready to go. And then, boom, something happens. Like, Sleazy Sparks is banned from America for 5 years. So, there goes all her plans. But, that's the one thing that I think we've become good at over these years is we're able to kind of figure out a way to, to keep things going as best as we can.
Right, and we've all, and Eamon, I'm sure you have too, seen enough shows where there have been like weird cancellations and horrible. Hell, Super Indie down here, but we had Jay Janela to get thrown off of a roof into a flaming car, and barbed wire.
He was supposed to be on our show the day before, we were built. That was one of our big angles that we were building up towards Absolution. It was going to be, it was going to lead to, this Friday, it was supposed to be Joey Janela versus Facade in a TLC match and like the third rubber match blow-off. And then all of a sudden, Joey Janela gets thrown off the roof into a flaming pickup truck, and that whole plan is out the window. You know what I mean? So that's why we kind of, initially were reluctant about our podcast, and now we're, once we've seen the feedback and, saw that people are enjoying it, now we're very excited when we have to go record these podcasts. Like, I know before we started recording, I explained to you how we do it. Like, we're kind of on the TNA taping schedule of podcasting. We go and we knock out like a month's worth of episodes on one Monday night. And then essentially what we do is we'll wait until we have another show. And then that following Monday, we'll go into the studio. The guys at, CLE Sound and This Is Awesome podcast, they help produce it for us. And we go and we'll have that one show that just happened fresh in our mind, and we'll get a really good podcast discussing that. And then we'll spitball some other topics that we think people would find interesting. And then, it's just kind of like a freestyle sort of thing.
That's great.
And we record about 4 episodes, and then same thing, we wait a month and then we go back into the studio and record more.
And that's completely an option, because what you're doing isn't timely to this just happened, except for like that show that just passed. I mean, and you're covering that. That's great. And I think when people I don't have time to start a podcast, they don't think, well, you could do it like just one day a month and kind of kick those out of there. And there's a few even clients I have there where we do the same exact thing because they're busy.
And we're very. I'm very much a stickler on it needs to be under 40 minutes, because I understand that there's these podcasts that go on for hours. You know what I mean? And people don't really have an attention span. So if we were going to do a podcast, I wanted to make sure it was short, it was sweet, and people weren't like, oh man, these guys are so boring. So that's another thing, we like to keep them under 40 minutes so they're just nice, easy listens. And, it's kind of funny because Smart Mark Video sent me a text the other day that, we sold a bunch of copies of Wrestle Rager, full sets, just what he assumes is based off the podcast, because we haven't sold any of those shows in a year. So I guess, subliminally or whatever, people are, listening to this podcast, and then, they want to go and see see how it all kind of played out, on the actual show, which is something we never even expected or thought about.
That's awesome. That's great. You're kind of resurfacing all those and getting new fans into it.
Yeah, which is crazy because, wrestling moves at the speed of light. Like something that happened 2 weeks ago is already old news. So moving, shows that happened 2 years ago on video is almost unheard of, because, people just, people, I don't know why, they just, oh, that show happened 2 years ago. I don't care if there's awesome stuff on it. I just don't want to see it. So, a lot of this stuff has kind of a 3-month shelf life, and then, it almost becomes worthless. And, the fact that we're doing this podcast telling these stories and people are just going back and buying those things, it just blows my mind.
Wow. That's awesome. From there, and I'm sure there's plenty of other great stories that can come up. AIW has had a history. You had a great talk about the Girls' Night Out being started and how you were finding talent. And if you look at the alumni for AIW, it's kind of a who's who of, what we just saw in the draft tonight as we record this on SmackDown, for instance. Guys like Seth Rollins, guys like Daniel Bryan coming through there over the years. you guys, and maybe this is probably one-to-one connected with the card will change. You guys really kind of stretch out to get who's hot or who interests you. Or I think at one point you said we want to book this guy because we just want to hear his music come down our entranceway on one of your earlier podcasts. Like your motivations for booking people are fantastic, and you
That was Rob Conway, by the way.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Thank you. But go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, we just feel like, like you want to book the hot indie guys. Of course, you want to book the hot indie guys, but you can't book every hot indie guy. Mm-hmm. You got to try to be different. And we feel, especially now, so much more now than even before, is everybody just wants to be PWG and that's it. Like, and to me, I don't want to be the Midwest PWG. I want to be the only AIW. So, like, we try to think of, like, the weirdest things that we could possibly do because, just like we said that there was a, kind of a void to be filled with having an independent promoters podcast, like, there's a void to be filled with people that don't want to see the same shit on every single indie show. So we'll go out and, we'll book Dan Severn or, we just booked Spider Nate Webb today.
Wow.
For an upcoming show. So just stuff like that is, that's what we do because we're fans and there's stuff that we were fans of that I think that, there's a market for, I think this Friday we have a match with Dutch Mantel managing Vic Justice against Jock Sampson being managed by Colonel Robert Parker. Like, that is just weird stuff. You know what I mean? But people love seeing weird stuff like that. People want to come and meet these people and, get a photo with them and see these, like, just weird freak show kind of, like, matches of, like, these old territory guys on a show where there's going to be someone who's going to probably try to do a double moonsault to the floor. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be, wrestling has to be a variety and a weird, just kind of mashup of everything. Instead of, there's a lot of these shows now, promotions that are just like, we just want to be this one thing. Like, people love variety. People don't want to see the same kind of match all night long. You know what I mean? So we just, and like you said, like, 100%, we just booked Rob Conway because we wanted to hear that "Just Look at Me" song once. We'll be sitting there and, like, we'll be trying to think of something, and that's the kind of dumb idea that gets blurted out, and then it ends up becoming a reality, and we book them. My partner Chandler Biggins, his favorite wrestlers as a kid were Bunkhouse Buck and the Stud Stable from, like, 1994 WCW. Sure enough, we've talked to a couple different people. We get Bunkhouse Buck's landline number, and that's the rest was history. Just stuff like that. We try to do so much just outside the box things because, especially in independent wrestling, you got to try to stand out as much as possible. So, we can book all these same guys that are doing every single show, or like I said, we can have a couple of those guys. And then we could have Dan Severn thrown in the middle of it. You know what I mean? And people are going to be like, what in the world is this? And it gets people interested. So, there's no rhyme or reason based on, who we book versus who we don't book. It's just sometimes we just think it's so outlandish and so funny that we book it just to see how it goes over. And so, thankfully, the majority of the time, it goes over pretty well.
That's awesome, and that sticks out. And like I said, Absolution last year kind of sold us by the fact that you had Dudes on TV was one of the teams, and you talked about in your podcast a little bit about how that came together with the likes of Rayro, Zima Ion, who else, Matt Cross, and Bateman, all on one.
Samoa Joe too.
Oh, Samoa Joe, yeah, that's right. All in one match is with the Young Bucks. I'm forgetting people. It's really cool to see that it sticks out. You guys, I think, have definitely solidified your identity over the last several years. of course. And remember, you guys have been at this. People need to remember, like, well, how can our promotion be as awesome as AIW? It's like you guys have been doing this for 10, 11, 12 years.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? Like I said earlier, we've been at it forever, but you have to always be willing to evolve and change. And, like how I thought, in 2005 is probably so much different how I think in 2016. But, you got to be flexible as a promoter. There's kind of, I know that there's promoters out there that they just stick to their guns and it's just my way or no way. And, you're not going to get a lot of success with that mentality. You have to kind of, be open-minded and be, be ready to change and evolve and, just kind of switch things up and, call an audible on, something that you thought was going to work but isn't going to work. So, like we've been at it for a long time, but, honestly, there's probably going to be a problem Friday that we've never experienced in our life. It's just, you never know what's going to happen being involved in running independent wrestling shows. I tell people this all the time. Like, if you have a gambling addiction, like, don't go to the casino, open an independent wrestling promotion, because the chances of that going well is so risky. It's probably the best, the best kind of gambling rush you can ever feel when it does pay off.
Awesome, and there you go for all you promoters out there. So we like to end off the show with a couple of questions. First of all, other than obviously you're very involved in your own product, I obviously you're paying attention just looking at the roster. I mean, hell, Absolution has representatives from TNA, the Cruiserweight Classic, just everywhere. What are you watching these days? What's got your interest these days that you're paying attention to?
Like, honestly, a lot of what I don't watch a lot of modern wrestling. What we do is we watch what people are talking about. We watch what fans are talking about on message boards or on Twitter or, things like that. It's just, as I get older and your real life kind of takes on, so many more responsibilities, it's hard to watch everything. But, we have kind of, formed this like secret underground focus group of guys that will like really be like, check this guy out, watch this. This is the next guy, stuff like that. Honestly, what I'm watching right now is a lot of the Monsoon Classic YouTube channel, like 1993 Superstars matches, to be perfectly honest. I can't get off that dude's YouTube channel. That's a lot of the majority of what I'm watching. Today I watched Tracy Smothers versus Bruiser Bedlam. That is the only wrestling that I watched this week. So yeah, that's what I'm watching these days. But like I said, what I like, a lot of the times it doesn't matter. We're looking at what fans are saying and, who's telling us who's the next guy to book, stuff like that. Because, I'm not buying a ticket. Fans are the ones that are spending their money. So we pay a lot of attention to what they're saying and, where they're leaning. And we just try to, get in on the ground floor of a lot of these guys.
Awesome. I, by the way, just completely subscribe to the Monsoon Classic YouTube channel.
Oh my God, dude. Yes. It will take over your life. Every streaming service at my real job is blocked except for YouTube. So I'm just all over this dude's YouTube channel. He also runs the concession stand at AIW, which is totally random, but he just he dedicates his life to just uploading this obscure old television wrestling. You can get lost on his 1997 worldwide playlist.
Oh wow! I'm looking at Tony Atlas versus the Spoiler in the Maple Leaf Wrestling. I'm afraid to show this because I don't know. I never know what WWE owns anymore. They'll tag us. So that's great.
It's weird. WWE. I looked into it because I'm super weird about YouTube and statistics and things like that. And I looked it up, and WWE has claimed his channel. So he uploads this stuff, and they just they just take all the ad money.
Oh yeah.
But, he loves it. He just loves having putting these weird things out there, and he'll tell me man, they zapped my whole channel down for 3 days because I uploaded a Sabu match from WCW. Like, he says, like, he tries to explain to me the politics of uploading WWE owned material, and it's like so bizarre. But I highly recommend like anybody checks out his YouTube channel because there's so much weird stuff on there.
Wow. Yeah, we've had some discussions about that on the show as well. So we actually, before I get to the final question, we had a question in the chat room. Brienne, I think, is asking this. Any chance we'll be hearing some of the AIW students on your podcast? I'm presuming they're asking about your podcast and not ours.
Your podcast, I could absolutely set it up. My podcast, it's not really like a guest like interview type of thing. You know, we've been asked to interview people and stuff like that, and I just, you know, maybe we'll eventually do that, but right now it's just kind of like us sitting down and telling random stories based on, you know, some topic. So I don't know, you know, maybe we'll get into something discussing the school and how that is a whole different stressful endeavor is running a professional wrestling school. But I don't know if we're going to be interviewing them anytime soon, but I highly suggest maybe the Indie Mayhem show interview some of them because a lot of them are idiots.
We'll see what we can set up there, but
like seriously, like there's a couple of them that just do a lot of drugs. They're like legit idiots. You would not even understand what they're talking about half the time. One legitimately pitched to me today that AIW brings back the Brawl for All, and it was like a real serious thing about getting boxing gloves, and he really thought that this was going to take AIW to the next level. Is the AIW Brawl for All?
I was just assuming that's what your upcoming Bloodsport event is about. It's just a big Brawl for All tournament.
Oh, that's what he wanted to do, and I was just like, no, man, like, we just called it Bloodsport, honestly, because UFC is running Cleveland the next day. We're really not going to have people do a kumite. Like, there's probably some laws against that. But he's like, no, man, like, let's do this Brawl for All thing, and, you know, I'll box anybody. And I was just like, oh, man. Like, this is the kind of thing that you got to deal with when you're operating a pro wrestling school. And the level of ideas pitched are unreal.
Oh, I believe it. I've heard some of those from students. Yeah. Question. Sorry, I was trying to. I had a question about your podcast, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to ask it on the show or off. But I'll go for it. Maybe I'd love to see. This is me just kind of wishful thinking here. When you guys start running out of stories, if that could ever happen after how long you've been doing this, I'd love to hear you guys talking with other promoters. Like for me, I think that would be a really cool kind of thing for you guys to jive on a little bit. So
yeah, I mean, because I think everybody kind of has their own just horror stories. That's one thing. That's one thing. Like Drew Cordero from Beyond, he has already kind of like inquired about hopping on and telling his side of the story on so many different crazy things that he has to kind of deal with just out running his shows in Rhode Island and the New England area. So yeah, that's something that's been discussed. Like I said earlier, we never thought we were going to do podcasts. So like it's all like a learning as we go sort of thing. It's kind of how we run AIW. Like there's kind of like a loose blueprint, and we just kind of roll with it and see what happens. So that's definitely not outside the realm of possibilities, because I think every independent wrestling promoter has to deal with the dumbest problems. Like you would have no idea that like the level of just like real life people probably can't even like comprehend just like the dumb problems that you as a independent wrestling promoter has to deal with. Like when a wrestler, you book them and then like the day before the show they say like, oh hey, like I forgot to tell you I don't have a car. How do I get there? Like stuff like that. It's just like, could you imagine like, hey, like, cool, I got a job, but hey, I don't have a way to get there. You know what I mean? Can you like help me get to my job? stuff like that. And like, I understand people that require flights and things like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking people like that live like 2 hours away and they're just like, oh man, I don't have a car. Like, what am I going to do? Can somebody come pick me up? Like, just like stuff like that is just like mind boggling. I imagine every promoter has to deal with like just the dumbest of problems. So yeah, it's definitely something that we could do is, down the road is probably, hook up with a couple other promoters and, hear their stories and let them share. And we kind of just talk shop a little bit.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. And finally, final question. What is the best and worst thing? Oh, I could go very many ways with this, of being a wrestling promoter, we'll say tonight.
I mean, the best is just like the weird stories that, like the life experiences that you get. I feel like, that's one thing that, like I have like what I call like civilian friends, and like they'd never experience like these wild and crazy, just random stories. Or like, you get to like work with people you idolize as a child. Like, we brought in Terry Funk recently and things like that. And you get to just like hang out and drink beers with them and like just talk and, just like hear their stories. Stuff like that is probably the best part of being an independent wrestling promoter. And the worst part is just like all the problems or like the years that you have to go through of like losing money and scraping by and like sacrificing your relationships and sacrificing, your jobs and your personal life. Like that part of, being involved in independent wrestling sucks because like it takes up so much of your time. And like, there's a lot of people that don't want to wait around for, for it to go good or, you just gotta, it's like I said earlier, you're betting all your money pretty much. You're betting your rent, you're betting your car payment. And like, when you bet that and it doesn't go well, that's the worst part is like, the bad, like kind of growing pain years that you have to go through.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been awesome to catch up with you. And everybody go check out. The card is going to change. As with, it seems with a lot of things with AIW, a whim becomes a movement. So many times over the years. Great stories there. Catch up on them. I think there's 8 episodes, I think last I saw at this point.
There's 7 and a new one coming out this week where I talk about playing Terry Funk's own album when I picked him up from the hotel.
By the way,
and how he was very mad that I had access to his I believe it was Born Texan is the album name. I could be completely wrong on that, but I had it playing. It was me, Little Guido, and I picked up Terry Funk, and he was not happy, and I talk about it on next week's podcast. And
such great titles as Shane Douglas Needs a Babysitter and Honky Tonk Man Likes to Watch. AIW, yeah. AIWrestling.com, Absolution this weekend.
Come to Absolution this Friday. Everybody, come to Absolution this Friday. It's going to be, it's going to be probably one of our best shows of the year. It's always the best show of the year. I don't think this year is going to disappoint. We got a lot of weird things kind of lined up. We're bringing in, we've been doing a lot with Lucha Libre recently. We're bringing in, we're doing this crazy 6-man lucha tag, nice. Which I think people are really going to want to check out, as well as the rest of the card. The rest of the card is stacked, but I'm mostly looking forward to this Lucha Libre 6-man tag with Zima Ion and company.
That's awesome. He's been doing some crazy lucha stuff out in Chicago, I know, looking at his Facebook. So go check them out, AIWrestling.com. Get that. If you miss it, catch the DVD and digital downloads on Smart Mark Video and the whole history. A lot of great stuff there. A lot of great faces. A lot of great names there. So that's it for this show. We're not going to have much discussion this week. We'll get back to it because we're going to have a lot to talk about. As myself, I'm going on vacation. As soon as I post these podcasts and get everything wrapped up tomorrow, I'm heading to the Gathering of the Juggalos. By the way, John, thank you for prepping me for that with all your horror stories heading out with Necro Butcher the one year.
I was thinking about checking it out. I'm actually off work all this week because of the Republican National Convention safety concerns. So I was talking to Kevin Gill. I might stop down there. We're actually doing the Warp Tour tomorrow. AIW is doing the Warp Tour tomorrow, nice. And then off on Thursday, and then Absolution on Friday. So I was thinking about maybe I might swing through the gathering on Thursday night and see if I can run into Rick Bassman and Tila Tequila again.
Yeah, check out his Tila Tequila story from that episode as well. So I'll have, I know there's a Stranglemania, there's a Bloody Mania main show, and of course a girl fight show on Saturday.
They have a show on Thursday now, I guess. I've been told.
Oh, it's Thursday after midnight, Friday after midnight, and then they're having a 1 p.m. on Saturday, and that's the girls' show. So it's always a good time. It's always a good time. Hey,
man, I was a juggalo back in my early teenage years, man. I saw plenty of Twisted concerts when I was 16 years old.
It's my yearly I'm going to make myself go on vacation thing. So I'll have plenty of stories, I'm sure, as we have the last 2 years when I've gone there. And of course, actually, it doesn't end for me. Sunday, Micro Championship Wrestling is going up to Sharon, PA, so I'm going to swing by, check that out with some friends and family, and we'll be back here sometime. Actually, stay tuned. We're going to be moving some stuff around, shuffling things around on Wrestling Mayhem Show for our Tuesday night podcast recordings. But look for the Indie Mayhem Show next week. We'll have an announcement on that hopefully very soon. And check out everything. Of course, Eamon has Inspire Pro Wrestling going on. You got a big show coming up in August, of course.
Yes, indeed. August 14th. We'll have a lot of great talent on that show, including Lucha Underground star Matt Cross and AIW star as well. And current Cruiserweight Classic entrant Lindsay Dorado. You can go check out all the information for that at inspireprowrestling.com.
Nice.
You guys get rid of that Brandon Stroud character out there?
we did, yes. We know.
Good. He doesn't like me very much. Good.
Yeah, I've heard.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, then everyone support Inspire Pro now that Brandon Stroud is no longer employed.
There you go. And of course, this weekend I'm going to be missing International Wrestling Cartel's Wipeout event. Jimmy DeMarco is going to be about it. You need to check out the Jimmy DeMarco Sexy Talented Dudes video. Training video.
I was told about this tonight at training, actually, by Chandler Briggins. He was really putting it over, and he said that he heard there's quite a bit that was edited out of it from a inside source that told him it got a lot crazier, but it was a little bit edited.
Oh yeah, I was told about some of the incidents that happened during portions of that they had to when I got to see the preview. But it's going to be a crazy show. There's going to be Robbie E. I know is a part of it. Dylan Bostic, Jimmy DeMarco. I know Chelsea Green just announced she can't take it. She can't make it because of border concerns, and now I know what that means thanks to the AIW's podcast.
I explain all about those crazy border concerns, man. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. Ray Rowe, Alex Daniels is going to be on that card, and so much more. A lot of great stuff. Of course, we've talked to a lot of friends of this show. Are going to be a part of that as well. I think that's all the wrestling weekend this weekend because I know there's like 3 shows in Pittsburgh the weekend after that. We'll tell you about that later. We're already loaded. You got a lot of wrestling to watch. Go support indie wrestling wherever you are. If it's at a gathering in Texas, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, it don't matter. Support it in the bumfuck middle of nowhere. Who knows where? Go check it out.
Support Alabama Doink. You guys know about Alabama Doink? Support Alabama Doink.
There you go. Find Alabama Doink.
Swing by a Golden Corral, man. He'll fuck up your car. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
No, that's fine. That's fine on this one. Thank you so much. At Sorgatron on Twitter, WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Subscribe to this and so many other shows. And join us. The main Wrestling Mayhem Show is live Tuesdays now at 10 p.m. immediately following WWE SmackDown. You can join us on the live stream and chat room for that. Thank you so much, our guest, John Thorne, Eamon, and for the rest, support indie wrestling. See you guys next time. I got in a feedback loop. I'm sorry. I couldn't remember what I had already said.
That's all right.
So, all right. Thanks a lot. That was great.
Oh, no problem, man.
So
I appreciate it.
I know.
It's a long time in the works.
I know I have people that are interested in doing another road trip up to Cleveland for a show, so hopefully we'll see you sooner than later here.
Yeah, man, that August 26th show is going to be pretty crazy.
I think that's a
way.
Tommy and I'll have to check that.
Tommy and Teddy Hart and various others. That's what we got Spider Nate Webb for. I just got a text that he confirmed when I was on the air.
Breaking news! You guys on the stream.
Yeah.
26th. Okay. Elgin's on there too. Nice. All right. Look forward to that. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So this will be posted probably late in the wee hours of tonight. You'll get tagged on it for.
All right. Yeah. I'll probably send it on in the morning. We got like a 8:30 a.m. Call time for the Warped Tour tomorrow, so I'm gonna go to bed early tonight.
Yep. But no, thanks a lot. It was good to reconnect, and we'll have to keep in touch.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate it. Anytime you guys need anything.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
Have a good one, man.
Have a good night.
See ya.
All right. Who dares come on the late post-draft Mayhem show?
And I've just updated the entire draft list.
Yeah, I've had it on, so I've been seeing some of the faces pop up, but maybe not catching exactly what show they went to.
Yeah, I got it listed.
I think first half we're just talking draft, like no limit.
Yeah.
Nope. I'll try to break you guys after 20 minutes and plug indie wrestling. But we'll just do it. Matt said he was doing a Vampiro article, right?
I think so.
Okay. We'll plug the shit out of that as soon as I see it up. Did you got the final thing, right? This is the final thing? No, this is not the final thing.
Wait, what?
For our draft, is this the final one? No.
This will be the final one. I'll have it up tomorrow.
You have it up tomorrow. Okay.
I think it'll be good to introduce it on this show and then do the voting.
Do you know?
You want to go ahead.
Do you know what you're doing for draft? Or I'm sorry for. I'm sorry. For polls.
I was debating. Did you want to do Facebook or do you want to do?
I'm okay with Facebook.
Like a Facebook, fine.
We can do Facebook. Feel free to do Twitter. Do you know how to do Twitter?
Yeah, I can do Twitter.
Okay, because it's just who won, right?
Yeah, and just combine the two. Basically.
Yeah. Do Twitter and just set it for like however many days you want it to run. Just make sure they sync up. Well, I guess there's no time limit on the Facebook one, but there's a time limit on the Twitter one.
Twitter.
So
I'll set it for a week.
Yeah, then we'll come back next week and see who won, and maybe we can compare.
Yeah, or I guess I'll set it for 6 days.
A little more directly after we've seen like an episode with the new rosters to get a feel for it, you know?
Gotcha.
Oh, wait, is this last night? This is last night. Mike's still in there, okay. Carlins, do you want in? You know what? I'm just going to invite people and see where this goes. There it is. Yeah, so I have these security cams I put on down here, just so, just in case, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, I'm going to see a ghost at some point and get, like, freaked out. Like, that's in the back of my head now.
Wow. So
because they look like they look like the way the light shines, like it's like, oof, that's kind of creepy. And if something like shows up on it, I'm just gonna like scare the shit out of me. Matt, and this draft thing is still going on the network. What's happening?
I think it just ended.
Oh, is it? I might be on delay. Yeah, because I looked it back a little because I want to see a little more of the Kevin Owens and.
Which is funny because apparently Heath Slater has not been drafted.
Oh no! I was wondering if there'd be a joke that like they were the last ones, but I saw Bo was.
Bo and Curtis have been drafted. Heath has not. Neither has Luke Harper. Did you see that tweet that he posted?
No.
He tweeted at 8:36. Thank you. See you soon. Goodbye forever. Number 93. ...
Holy shit! This draft, you guys.
Hold on to it.
Hold on a sec.
Hold on to that awesomeness. I don't even know. Oh. Later. 1 hour. Oh, yeah, there's it ending.
Okay. Yeah, Sorg, I don't know if you saw my thing. I can only stay on for like 10 minutes, but...
Okay, we'll try to dive right into it then. Let me get the tech. I'm going to replace John Thorne with you.
Yeah, I have all my tech pack. I have like 5 extra battery chargers.
I think I have most of my stuff ready for my trip. I don't know.
Also, the first time I've ever actually used one of the downloadable copies. Go watch this shit in the airport.
Hell yeah. Wait, what's that? Wait, what edition is that?
Ultimate Steelbook.
Oh, you got a Steelbook. Okay. I was like, that doesn't look like mine. That doesn't look like mine. Yeah, I watched it today. I kind of put it on while I was working, but I got the gist of it. There were a lot of nice little touches, I'll say.
Oh, I don't expect it. Whoa. Echo.
Is there?
Yes.
Echo.
Oh, it might be this one or this one.
Echo?
No, it's good.
No more echo.
Okay. I've been readjusting a little bit here. So.
Although now you sound marble mouthy.
You sound marble mouthy. Is that better?
You sound really low. And there's an echo.
And there's an echo. I turned me down. Hold on.
Yeah, you sound low, Sorg.
Hold on. Well, the thing... Hold on. We'll get this. Maybe it's just because I'm getting tired. That could be it, too. Hello?
God.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
There's a bit of an echo.
There's like an underwater echo.
Underwater echo?
Yeah.
No, it's kind of...
Eamon, was this happening before?
It's coming... No, it wasn't happening before.
Huh. Not sure what to change here. Everything is sounding good on this end, which is the important for the recording.
I can hear you fine, Sorg.
Okay.
It sounds fine now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, maybe something was loose.
maybe some...
That's what she said.
Okay, so Jay Hunter tweeted, so in kayfabe, Daniel Bryan drafted Mojo Rawley instead of Shinsuke Nakamura. The fuck?
I'm pretty sure there were 4 people on SmackDown that were not allowed to be drafted.
Well, here's my thing. Never mind. I'll talk about it on the show.
Is there anybody out there that isn't on the show that should be? Bob, F. J-Town, do you want to join us?
I'd try Riz.
Riz?
Riz seems to have opinions.
I think Bobby has work in the morning, so he's not going to want to be on the whole time. Actually, yeah, he had a big question. Let's add him. Yeah, so we'll kind of set up. I think I'll aim to set up and try to call you guys about 10 to 10 in the future.
Okay.
Sorg, honestly, I don't think we're going to have to do shows at 10. I don't think we're going to miss much on SmackDown.
Well,
You know,
I don't think we're going to miss much.
But seriously, using SmackDown,
no. Heath Slater's in a room with no one else, and they just turned the lights out on him.
That's awesome.
Or Heath Slater.
Yes, it is actually. It is going to ruin podcasting day. Oh no, it's going to reconfigure. We've had to make some hard choices with podcast day. And the idea is we're going to put Wrestling Mayhem show after SmackDown, so that we've seen it and we've done that thing. Riz, you got a lot of background. Just so you're aware, I know you're probably adjusting.
Yeah.
He's probably
Better?
adjusting.
No.
I don't know. I don't think you have the right mic on.
Are you still watching the live stream?
No, I muted everything now. Let's see.
Hi, Riz. You look good.
Better?
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
Riz, go to the gathering with me.
Okay, so they're just doing repeat.
Yeah,
Alright,
they're just
not
in there.
doing. They're not doing any more drafts.
No.
Heath Slater doesn't get taken by anybody.
No.
All right.
Sadly, he doesn't.
Okay, I got to set up Riz, and I think we'll be good to go.
So are we doing an entire show or just...
You know, the intention is to do a show, yeah.
Okay.
Let me just concentrate really hard for a minute here, and we should have you set. And we'll be bumping this up to 10 o'clock. Like, officially.
Yeah.
So.
Brandon just tweeted. So this week's NXT should start with Bayley flipping a table and walking with her middle fingers up, right? I mean, unless they just have her show up as Sasha's partner.
That's my theory.
Yeah, I mean, now it...
Is that she's Sasha's partner, and they
But
weren't
then
gonna,
what?
and they just weren't
And
gonna.
they just put her on one of the shows that didn't draft her?
And Shane can just be like, that's you know.
It's like a backroom
Oh, well-
deal or something.
Well, no, because
Yeah.
Sasha's on Raw.
Well, also, like, they said they were drafting 60 picks tonight. They apparently only drafted 59.
Okay.
Poor Heath. Poor Heath.
Where is this?
All right, so Sorg, I'm only gonna stand for like 10 minutes and then I'm bouncing.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
You know what? This is fine. It's fine. I don't
Do
need
it.
this. I don't
Yeah.
need this thing to work.
Nobody needs to see me anyway, so
No.
that's fine.
Well, no. I got you. I was just trying to pull up another one. And 4 is not going to matter because we're going to lose Mike in a minute. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. All right. Number of show
69, dudes.
That's not the show number. 529.
569.
Oh god, the hype
Yeah.
bros are on SmackDown, you guys.
You guys ready? You guys ready? You guys ready?
Yeah,
They are on SmackDown.
Roll it.
yeah. They are.
Hey guys, it's the Wrestling Mayhem Show post WWE Draft edition. The night everything changed, or did it? We'll get right into it. We gotta get right into it because one of these guys has got to get out and start his travels early in the morning on their way to San Diego to talk to our new Lucha friends. That guy is in Poughkeepsie, New York. I said it right tonight. That guy is Mad Mike.
Yeah, Sorg, my train leaves in about 50 minutes, so I am all packed, but holy crap, I need to talk for a little bit about this draft.
Yes. We'll get you to dump out on that first. But also with us, representing, of course, the voice of Inspire Pro Wrestling, he is Eamon Payton in San Antonio, Texas.
Yes, drafts. I tried to make a draft poll joke, and I can't think of one because I'm not that creative. It's the WWE draft is concluded. I have opinions, as I do.
And also with us from the greater Pittsburgh area is the Riz.
I mean, none of you could have came up with good lucha things and then just run off.
No?
I mean,
No?
no.
No?
Good lucha things. Yeah. Wait, you didn't see that yet?
I have
No,
what?
I saw it. I
Eamon?
I have not.
We've been doing another podcast for the last hour, so I have no idea
Yeah,
what
okay.
you're talking about.
You guys need to check out the Kalisto promo.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
You
All
really
right.
don't.
This is,
I've been busy.
as I said, this is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Please check us out on all the podcasty outlets, including iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Facebook, Yeah, I know they're more video than podcasty. All kinds of places that we're not there. Let us know. We'll get there. And also live.wrestlingmayhemshow.com. Because of the SmackDown change, we're going to be moving this show to 10 p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday. So I'm sorry for those couple of people that watch both Awesome Casting Wrestling Mayhem Show, but now you can watch SmackDown. So we're good. We're good, right? We're good, right?
Sorg.
We'll see. Anyways, you can also drop us a line of what you think about the move or our decisions or our thoughts on tonight's WWE draft picks. 412-206-WMS0 is the hotline. You can leave a voicemail there or that email address.
Good times.
Good times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. And, of course, please support the show if you would like to over at Patreon.com/WrestlingMayhemShow. You can support the show there. Give a nickel, give a penny, give $10. Whatever you want to do per episode. And you got a little bit extra with WMS Gold and other things. We got some stuff in development there as well. Thank you to our friends.
There may even be some stuff from Mad Mike at San Diego.
Could be. Check out. Hey, thanks to our friends, the long timer, the MVP of this, the WrestlingRevolution.com's Antonio Garza out there in El Paso, Texas. Of course, there's Mo Diggity. Woo! The Matthew and Jennifer.
By the way, Sorg.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Diggity. I don't mean to interrupt the Patreon plugs, but Bo Diggity had the best draft analysis I've ever seen on Twitter. He said Shane set his draft to auto pick, didn't he?
Yeah, that seems about right. Eamon had a good assumption of that as well. But also, thanks to
Why still pick?
You missed my
friggin'. Never mind.
You missed my flow. You missed my flow. We have to thank the people because they give us money. Thank you to the Matthew and Jennifer Carlin's Foundation for Podcast Betterment, Ed Burke and Alex Cars. Thank you so much for supporting the show. That means so much to us. You don't have to give money. Support it by just telling people about it. Share it. Comment on the show on our Facebook, in our Facebook group, wherever that may be, or just join us live and say hi. Hey guys, what's up? So that's it. WWE Draft. It's in the can. What? Mike?
What happened?
So Sorg, I know we said we were going to move the Mayhem Show to 10 to accommodate people who want to watch SmackDown.
I don't want to watch it.
To those people, I have one simple question. Why?
I don't want to watch it.
I will say...
I am not going to be watching SmackDown.
No, I will say...
Honestly, I would prefer to watch Impact.
No,
I'm not lying.
No.
I'm not lying. If SmackDown and Impact were going head-to-head, 8-10, I would watch Impact over SmackDown. I would flip back for the American Alpha match, and that's it.
Here's my thing. I think, while I do find some of the picks a little weird for SmackDown, I will say in the televised draft, Raw murderized them. Absolutely murder. Yes, that's a word. Absolutely murderized them. I think they did better in the supplemental draft.
Did they?
For the most part, some of these ones. Look at the Raw picks in the supplemental draft.
I was like, you have to remember, we did this draft too. Once you get to that supplemental draft, it's a little dicey. I still think Raw came out on top.
I still think SmackDown has better picks in the supplemental than Raw does.
So you're amped about Eva going to SmackDown?
I don't mind. Well,
We all read everything going to the Blue brand.
Says the guy.
I picked Eva Marie.
We picked Eva Marie for SmackDown, by the way.
I'm aware of that. But WWE should not make the same dumb decisions I do. Her hashtag is all read everything. Why would you throw her on?
Maybe she'll dye her hair blue. You don't know. But no, honestly, like some of the you got your Zack Ryders who've been doing more. Kalisto. I think even like a place like here, like the Usos could do well. Like as much as we don't like the Usos.
Honestly, if I may jump in here, just the thought of the American Alphas versus the Usos.
That could be cool.
That would be awesome.
And that's it.
I think they've got better.
Honestly, like, what other dream match could you put together from that SmackDown roster that we haven't seen 11 bagillion times?
Ray versus AJ.
Ray?
or Orton versus
Ray.
AJ.
Well, I think you also have to. I think you have
Like
to
Ray
consider.
who?
I think.
No, he meant
Ray.
Ray. Like
Oh,
Ray
I thought you
Wyatt.
Ray Wyatt,
said
yeah.
Ray. I'm like, Ray's on a different show.
I think you also have to consider too, like okay, this doesn't look any different. It's just split up, right? But also you have to consider like now we have this box of people that will have more attention every week versus Raw and SmackDown have been like very same for
Right.
a while, right? And it's giving you no reason to tune in because they're like, well, I'll probably see the same match on Raw, and nobody's going to reference it, so it doesn't matter, right? Now
Yeah.
it will, and now Bobby FJ Townsend in the purple everything is mixed.
Sorg, you can bring Bobby in because I have to head off.
Okay, we'll have Bobby come in and replace you, but he's saying that this is going to be the better wrestling show, for instance.
I think Raw, has a chance to be more congested. I feel just because it feels like they're taking so much from everything. You know what I mean? Especially like I'm thinking to the fact of like Stephanie announced that they're going to do the cruiserweight division on Raw. What cruiserweights do they have? They got nothing. Like they got Neville and like Sin Cara, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're having some great comments in the chat room. I mean, I think you're missing the opportunities of Mojo Rawley and John Cena, Mojo Rawley and Breezango.
Mojo, say what you will, Riz, because I know
No.
what you're about to say about Mojo Rawley. Mojo has gotten better. We said it on the Midweek War on recent episodes of NXT. He has gotten better.
No.
Either way, I think
No.
again, no, they're not the blowout stars that Raw got, right? But I think this is a nice batch of talent that has an opportunity to stand out on something like SmackDown.
And it's like what the old SmackDown was. It was the NXT type of Raw.
It was the Castaways.
Yeah. And why not build stuff up? I mean, it's weird to have Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, although they are probably two of my favorite. Like just them interacting with each other. Those two guys together are awesome together. But it's weird that they're on Raw and not SmackDown because I think they would do so much better on SmackDown than they would on Raw.
That's true. I do think, like, I'm excited for, like, I look at this card for SmackDown and I'm like, they could do some really good stuff with Breezango. Like, I feel like Tyler Breeze could benefit a lot from this. Apollo Crews is on here. Zack Ryder can do singles and also maybe do tag stuff with Mojo.
Hey,
Ziggler's on there.
Ziggler.
real quick, Amen. Can you tell me where I can find a list of the
I have a list.
extended draft? Like where is that? Can you drop in the chat or something?
I'm sure WWE.com has it. I don't know.
And I can't. No, I can't find it. I seriously can't find it on WWE.com.
Did you want me to run through them? Because I have the list.
Just give me a visual.
Okay.
Because I'm sure
SmackDown.
by the time people listen to this, they may have like pretty much know the list by then.
Yeah.
No,
So we got.
give us the actual copy.
Yeah. No, let's have the
Well,
thing to look
I
at.
have it in a notes page on my phone. So.
Oh, you've been
Wow.
note taking this the entire wow.
It's just looking off Twitter. But
I don't know. He's so
Yeah,
matter of fact about this. It's like what? I took down all the data. Like, hey, listen, and it was a historic event. Eamon took care of it. Okay.
Yes.
let's talk about if we want to talk more about some other the people in the draft. Let's talk about the NXT call-ups.
Okay.
Let's. What do we think of the NXT call-ups? Obviously, the biggest one was Finn Balor, who was taken 5th.
Baylor.
Finn Balor.
Balor. It's right
Yeah,
here
I
on my
saw it.
card. Finn
Yay.
Balor.
Finn Balor, who was taken 5th. I believe the next ones taken were American Alpha to SmackDown, which, yes, Alpha's
Yeah.
going. I kind of wish they were on Raw because it seems where like more of the tag stuff is, but even still. Nia Jax to Raw, which I'm very happy
That was a
about.
shocker.
Yes, it was very sad when they were announcing this woman from NXT, and then the crowd starts to lose it.
Yeah.
And then it's Nia Jax, and they're like, "Oh." We also had Alexa Bliss going to SmackDown, which I'm very excited about, as well as Mojo Rawley, as we mentioned before, and Carmella going to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Not going with Enzo and Cass.
Wow.
Was that only 5? Or was that 6?
That was 6. That was 6 picks, yeah. Which I assumed that NXT, like, each show would get 3 NXT picks, but I guess you can just do, like, you could take like 6 straight NXT picks or whatever if you wanted to. I think all the call-ups are great and well deserved. I think it just is a case of where it falls into, like, clearly this is WWE shaping out their roster. This isn't just a kayfabe thing that they're doing. Like, they're actually shaping out these rosters to make them look a certain way. So, like, if we were to take this as, like, this is a serious draft, yeah, it's weird that Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura and Bayley and, you know, Austin Aries even and guys like that aren't drafted over guys like, you know, Big Show and Jack Swagger and like guys like that. But it's because, yeah, they're not going to bring all of them up because then NXT has nothing.
Yeah, but with Bayley, she's been there for how long now?
Right. But she's also. But they need to space these cornerstone characters because NXT is still a brand, and it's going to be ever evolving. But you're right. They just need to take time with that. And again, the theory that maybe Bayley pops up on Sunday, anyways. We'll see what happens with that.
And I hate to agree with Mark Madden, but Bayley has a window. Like, it's going to feel weird when she comes up, or what in the years that go by, when that window closes.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I just hope that we get a lot of Bayley coming up soon, and I hope you're right, and I hope we see Bayley as the mystery partner, and then Bayley can go on and do things. But I don't believe that's going to happen. I want it to happen, but I don't believe it's going to happen.
Curious notes from a user in the chat room. Alberto Del Rio and Paige, who have been publicly outed that they are dating, are now on separate brands, which the couple can't be too happy about.
The Wyatt family's also completely split up.
Where did they end up?
Strange.
Bray and Eric Rowan are on SmackDown. Braun Strowman's on Raw.
Ooh.
And Luke Harper is a free agent.
Yeah, Luke Harper may not be in WWE. Yeah, I think it's interesting. It depends on what they do with the titles as well. Because you've basically a lot of also like with how like the women are, especially the women are pretty evenly dispersed. So, but I wouldn't think like why make another women's title?
Yeah, especially after they just rebranded it, and I'm hoping. Although you look at these lineups, it's like they're probably going to end up with a second tag title, a second women's title, or maybe they don't. Maybe just SmackDown just has matches for having matches, right? Mm-hmm. And these girls like maybe shuffle and get traded over to Raw whenever they want them to get into the title picture.
Yeah,
and that would be. Wouldn't that be okay? Would it be okay? Would it be so bad if we just didn't have tag or women's titles, but we had a tag and women's division that just had great storylines?
I would, because actually I was thinking about this. Why not at the pay-per-views have a Raw team and a Raw side and a SmackDown side fighting for a number one contendership spot for one of those titles?
I could see that.
Like,
I could absolutely see that.
You'll have American Alpha go up against
Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, Enzo and Cass. And the winner of that will get the chance to face the tag title.
And that becomes kind of more of a fight of dominance between the two shows, which stirs the Steph versus Shane and the Foley versus Bryan and the SmackDown versus Raw thing continually. And everybody gets bragging rights back and forth about that. I think that's perfect.
Are we making the bragging rights show now?
Bragging rights comes back. There you go.
but serious, I like that idea of just having competition, and you'll have either two tag matches, 2 women's matches, 2 intercontinental matches or United States matches in a show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's necessary, especially where the rosters are. Like, I can't imagine like American Alpha not ever challenging for the tag titles just because they're on SmackDown.
Right.
You know, they've got Becky, they've got Natalia, they've got even like people like Naomi and stuff like that. Like they should be challenging for the women's title.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I wish they would have done it like in the first draft that they did in 2002, where the WWE champion and the women's champion were like free agents in a sense and floated.
They tried that what happened?
It lasted for like a couple months.
A month.
I think it lasted for a few months, and then
Brock Lesnar
won it, and then they were like, "We're just gonna make 2 titles."
Yeah, they made a weird announcement. Did they make a weird announcement like Brock's now exclusive to Raw or something? And they're like, SmackDown, and then they're like, well, hey, we got the world title because Eric Bischoff.
Well, because I remember like it was like Triple H had the belt, and then he lost it, and he was a free agent who wasn't eligible to be drafted during the draft, and then when he lost it, both sides had to like petition to like get him to sign with either brand.
Yeah,
and I think that I think that makes it interesting. I just don't want them to make more titles because that can make it just too convoluted for me.
Maybe we'll just have another women's title, but it'll be blue.
It'll be blue.
Which will which will just uber clash with all red everything Eva Marie when she eventually wins that title.
She's never gonna win that title.
You don't know that.
No, I fucking know that.
Poor Riz.
If she does, I'm not gonna watch it because I'm not watching SmackDown.
I think, and I'm curious what people are going to think of this. And
but also, I think one other thing we should note, as far as like them trying to make SmackDown very interesting, John Cena.
Yeah.
You're on SmackDown.
There you go.
John Cena's not wrestling on Raw anymore, guys.
John Cena and AJ Styles are on SmackDown. You can't tell me you're not going to, and Dean Ambrose, you can't tell me you're not going to watch for those guys, right?
Yeah, I think they've got some working development. Now that I look at it, they've got a couple stars, and then they've got people who they can work up to, and that's like Riz mentioned. That's what was good about early SmackDown. That Kurt Angle's got to be like the top stars, and like your Edges and guys like that got to be top stars. And they wouldn't have gotten that chance on Raw. Raw's upper card looks better than SmackDown's, but
their undercard is a lot more even than we think it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about the WWE draft and SmackDown and where they're going to go from this. And of course, I guess we should probably preview WWE Battleground. But first, hey, go check out if you want to check out where some of these guys came from, like guys like Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles. A lot of that stuff's over at IndieWrestling.us. Our friends at International Wrestling Cartel, Renegade Wrestling Alliance, Vicious Outcast Wrestling, and of course stuff from Joe Dombrowski, Prime Wrestling. A lot of big names, Johnny Gargano's you see on, and all these guys came through indie wrestling, and a lot of them came through the Pittsburgh and Cleveland areas. Or you can just see us interview Virgil in his living room at his merch table, in the Legend of Virgil and his traveling merchandise table. So much more. IndieWrestling.us. Sign up for the newsletter. You'll get updates on the Wrestling Mayhem show, as well as sales and releases happening from IndieWrestling.us, our all wrestling everything here at Sorgatron Media. Go check out IndieWrestling.us and sign up for the newsletter and check it out. Oh, and there's the Around the Indies column. That's a wonderful thing Matt Carlin's puts together. Keeps you updated on what's upcoming. Nice multimedia presentation over there I think he's gonna have to depart in a little bit, but we're looking to groom somebody new. Gonna have some discussions on that later. Let's check it out, IndieWrestling.us. So the draft has happened. Let's look at Battleground this weekend, this Sunday on the WWE Network. What did this do to the show?
It made one match a little less interesting, and it's one of the better matches in the card.
Oh, you're talking about Owens and Zayn?
Yes.
Yeah, because their big selling point was this could be the last time they wrestle each other.
That's exactly it. It was they even said this is going to be the last time we fight, so why not make it this month?
Which makes me hopeful that they'll maybe do something more for SummerSlam. But like, still
Tag.
like, you think they'll do a tag at SummerSlam?
Just tag, become the champions. Why not?
Do it.
But it just makes it feel weird now. Like it's like going, like getting a new car and finding out later on that it's a lemon or something like that. Like just it's busted or something.
I don't think that bad, but still.
No. I mean, not really a lemon, but like it makes a rattling noise and you don't know what it is. But it's still going to be your brand new car, but it just has that little something in it that makes it weird.
I thought it was interesting. This is looking a little further than Battleground, but he is going to show up on the pay-per-view. Randy Orton to SmackDown, Brock Lesnar to Raw, and they're the big match announced for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
They could do some interpromotional sort of stuff there.
Yeah. I mean, there could be... I'd be great... Honestly, it'd be great if just Randy Orton just sneaks into Raw and tries to RKO him or something like that.
Yeah.
That could be fun. But I'm curious what his schedule is going to be. Brock's schedule is going to be here going into SummerSlam 2, considering everything going on with him. Yeah. Or if he even shows up there after the doping allegations in the long run, too.
I really love that WWE, or excuse me, that Raw drafted 2 people in a row with wellness stuff.
That's right. Roman, I see you looking at me. No, you're not allowed in the studio yet.
One more week, Roman.
One more week, Roman. Go outside and attract Pokemon. So
what is the reaction? Talking about Battleground, what is the reaction going to be for Roman?
I don't know.
Nuclear.
Nuclear go away. I feel like
I've been saying this for the past month since this news came out. Roman is fucked.
Did you hear the reaction to him being drafted tonight? And they were in Worcester. Like they weren't in some big they weren't in like Philly or anything. But that reaction was intense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I feel bad for him.
I heard that. I heard that. Hold on. I heard that and they were booing, and I realized like they're gonna boo no matter what show he's on, right? Like it's just his name enacted that, not the action. Riz?
But why feel bad about that though? He brought this all on himself.
Yes, but
I've been the biggest supporter of Roman Reigns for the year now. But he brought this whatever drug he was on himself. Mm-hmm. So he has to eat the soap and take his punishment like a man.
Eat the soap. Show title.
Yeah, like the old time, yeah.
Wash your mouth out, yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah. I don't know. I'm very interested. I don't know what's going to happen.
He's going to get booed out of the fucking building.
I think so. I don't blame Roman for the position he's been put in until this. I blame Roman for potentially putting the final nail on his coffin.
Yeah, you just gave that crowd that hates you a lot of material.
Yeah. And it's if they don't lean into it at this point, I can't imagine what they could do with something like this.
If they don't turn him heel,
but they already kind of weren't they?
They're idiots if they don't.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I think it's very curious. Although I feel like they've kind of deflated a lot of that match, having Seth and Dean do this like 2 times in a row. I know they're really trying to amp up these last 2 shows leading into the live SmackDown, and I hope they did well for it. But I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of a curious position they put themselves in. From there, of course, I mean we're gonna have 2 women's matches. This is I look at this show, and I'm not saying this is a bad pay-per-view. I actually think I'm going to enjoy this pay-per-view very much.
It looks good. Yeah.
It looks good. But I want to point out, this also feels like a betweener pay-per-view. To me, I think you need to kind of slot this in a Saturday night's main event kind of spot that's going to set up other things more than what we're seeing here. But you see things like six-man tags of New Day and the Wyatt family. Although there's implications there now because of how the draft went. Cena and Enzo and Cass against the Club. We'll see what that turns into. I mean, a lot of stuff that's just going to kind of lean into SummerSlam. We have 2 women's matches, none for the title.
True, but I do like how the stories have been built for both.
Oh, absolutely. I keep
particularly
I apologize.
Becky and Natalya.
By the way, I'm going to apologize right now to the video people because I keep showing this like corner of a window because Mad Mike went away and I keep forgetting that button doesn't work. So there's Eamon. There's Eamon's face. Sorry about that.
Hi.
There's Eamon.
But no, and we kind of alluded to it during the draft discussion. But like, my prediction is that Bayley could be Sasha's mystery partner, and that will be a way to call her up. I think there's ways you can go about it. It's got to be because like, who else would you pick as like, a mystery partner? And
also another thing that I think I figured out here. So Intercontinental and U.S. titles are being defended. Am I wrong?
Both matches have people from each roster.
Both matches have people from each roster, so that could be interesting. Could we? Okay. Do you see everything staying put or a double switch? I think everything stays put.
I think there could be one switch.
I think there's going to be one.
You think one's going to switch and somebody's going to have 2 titles?
I think we're going to make Darren Young great again.
Yes.
By the way,
Bob
Darren
Backlund
Young
is the best thing that's going on Raw.
He got a chance tonight.
Darren Young, the SmackDown, I think was it him? SmackDown. He was on the Miz show. Darren Young is great. Like Darren Young is intense. Darren Young is doing great
tonight. The crowd popped so huge when he put Miz in the chicken wing.
Yes,
like it was ridiculous. He is fucking over instantaneously. And
I love it.
I think they've got to give it to him. It's interesting that I think we'll get a lot on the pay-per-view of like Shane and Stephanie being like, okay, now win it for Raw. You know what I mean? Since they're both.
It really kind
I'm
of
sure we're going to the title match.
Leads into the battleground a bit. I like that. It adds a new layer to this, to the onion that is Battleground. Well,
and I think they're going to try to do more with, and I hate to say it because I don't like them, the Hype Bros. With Zack Ryder and is Zack Ryder facing for the?
He's facing Rusev.
Yeah, he's facing Rusev. Yeah, I keep on forgetting, but just having, I think they're trying to build up the Hype Bros for something.
Also,
like maybe,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say maybe for like a feud with Eva Marie or something. I don't know.
Feud with Eva Marie. If Miz loses the belt at the pay-per-view, that's a real fuck you to SmackDown on this. Because especially when Daniel Bryan was like, I don't really want to draft him, but he's got the title. So
We'll see. It's curious. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how Battleground shapes up in these first 2 live roster split shows. And of course, the first of them, Monday Night Raw, is here in Pittsburgh. Got my tickets last night. We'll be there. Mayhem representing, and whoever else pops up. Is that what the fuck? Sorry, something started moving, and I don't know what the fuck it was. I hope it was
Sword, do you have ghosts?
Is there a cat? Are you down here, cat? What the fuck was that? Okay, well, it's getting weird here in the studio, so...
Sorg is getting drunk?
Yeah. No, like I felt something on my leg, and it was really freaky. I hope it was a cat. Hope it was the cat. We're going to take a break so I can investigate what's under my desk right now. So we'll be back with the big question after this.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? What the hell? Seriously, something.
So I do have a series of questions.
A series of questions?
Yes.
A series of...
It's like like I said, it's like the beginning of what the big question was, where Lunchbox just had a notebook of questions. So I'm gonna shoot them off.
Just in case.
What?
Just in case.
Don't hit your cat, Sorg.
Here, kitty.
Unless it's a rat, and then you're fucked.
Oh, hold on. I gotta
So, yeah.
stand, guys. I haven't stand for like 2 hours. My butt hurts. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Oh,
Stork is gonna stick
go walk over.
the Kaduki stick up your butt.
I'm gonna walk over, take the Kaduki stick with me, eat a piece of pizza, come back. We'll finish the show.
Yeah, eat a piece of pizza.
Sorry, you forgot to do the Slice on Broadway thing.
We'll do it at the end.
Second half.
I get a shout out at the beginning, and I've been reassessing that on it. I'm not worried about it on this show.
Okay.
All right, I'll be
Let's
right back.
see. What am I going to do with this one? Oh, biggest sub.
Oh, fuck, that's a bug. What the fuck are you?
I think Sorg found it. Amen.
Oh no!
What?
I get to watch people. They have the people reacting at the performance center to people getting drafted. Oh, Nia Jax is so happy.
And it's looking at me.
Bring. Okay, I think I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3,
Man.
4. Yeah, that's good. That's a good amount. Oh, wait a minute. Let's do
So
5.
how worried do you guys get when you're like, I've never seen
Let's
a
do
bug
4.
like that before?
I can't understand what he's saying at all. Sorg, are you talking to us?
Like, do you get concerned when you see a bug and you're like, I've never seen a bug like that before?
Yes. That is an astounding yes. How's that pizza, Sorg?
Dude, it's like this long.
That's what she said.
I don't know what the hell it is. I caught a glimpse of it. It's like kind of flying around being stupid. So I think it got under my desk.
What, the pizza or the
The
bug? Okay.
The bug, Riz. We got a problem.
You got a problem?
We got bugs. There's an infestation in the Mayhem studio,
Kill it.
and we need to do something about it.
I think it's Roman Reigns.
What's our post-Big Show question? Or big... Oh, damn it.
What?
You know what? Can we do a big question and then just roll into what we learned?
Yeah, because I was going to do 4.
Okay. Okay, that's
'Cause
fine.
I have 4 questions that we can go through here.
Okay. I like it. And the Vampiro interview is up. So we're going to promote
Nice.
that this week. All right, guys, you ready? Hey, I'll do it.
Yes.
I just saw it. It just flew by. You guys see it? Is it in my orange juice? Where'd you go? I'm going to cover more orange juice.
So if we hear like snapping noises, it's just you hitting a bug with a stick.
This is going to go bad. This is going to go real bad. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
We're back, Wrestling Mayhem show. Hey, big shout out to our friend Slice on Broadway supporting the show, feeding the guests that have been in the studio here throughout the evening. I'm sorry, I'm freaking out. The bug's still flying around. That's why I figured out it's around here and it's huge. And I'm working on that. But our friend Slice on Broadway, hopefully it doesn't like pizza, but I'm sure it will. They've been supporting us for a good while here on the network. Check them out at sliceonbroadway.com. Here in Beachview in Pittsburgh, PNC Park, the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. If you're down there for a game in town, checking them out. Or down in
They won, so get a celebratory pizza.
Celebratory slice. And, of course, in Carnegie, PA on Main Street. SliceOnBroadway.com, PHH_slice on the Twitter. Let them know the Mayhem sent you. So, Riz... It's time for the big question, and you have something for us. Now, something special, I understand, right?
I have something very special because I have watched Todd McShay and Mel Kiper Jr. do this for years on the NFL Network and ESPN. So the draft is over. And so that means it's time for some analysis. So I want the first question I have for you guys is, out of everybody left, which one was the biggest snub of the night? Like, who did not get picked that you want to get picked?
Well,
The probably the saddest one though is I agree, Heath Slater.
Heath Slater had a rough week.
Yeah, well, and even in the pre-show, like Corey Graves was asked, like, if you could take one of the social outcasts, what would you take? He said, I would take Heath Slater.
wow.
And like he's not picked yet.
Although,
Yeah.
but I like what they could do with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mhm.
I think it'll be in that case. Yeah, I'll go with Heath. I'll say Heath. Yeah.
Sorg?
I don't want to go with the Luke because we did talk about Luke. We did talk about some of the weird non-picks out of NXT, for instance. But looking at NXT, and I think you need to automatically disqualify champions, okay, for bringing them up, just because of the position there. So because I could say Asuka, I could say Joe.
Asuka.
What? I thought Asuka. Asuka. Damn it! Do I need to write this down too? Damn it!
But sorry, you're fine.
I don't even know how to write that I'll remember it. Okay. But I think certainly, especially considering who did go up, which we had Eva Marie and Nia Jax go up, right? And no Bailey and no Bailey. So I'm saying on ladies, and Carmella, and Carmella. You're like again. I know we've talked about the theory of what might happen in the pay-per-view and everything like that, but on paper, you're right. Bailey, biggest snub of the night, the biggest deserving to go up, over deserving to go up. Should have been, should have had the welcome mat rolled out for her tonight on SmackDown. I think to make a big splash, but maybe there's a bigger splash coming for her. Who knows? But I think as far as the draft goes, Bailey is my answer.
You know, I think you could have. Now that I think about it, like you could have announced Bailey tonight.
Yeah.
And then still have her be the mystery partner at the pay-per-view. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because assumingly we're not supposed to see her wrestle until next SmackDown. You know what I mean? Yeah, I will say the women they called up from NXT I think are all great. And I think are deserving of that spot because they have improved and are ready to be on that level. But Bailey's been ready, and she's probably one of the top, like, she's up there with Sasha Banks as far as not just talent, but, like, the ability to sell and market themselves and you know, be their own kind of brand, so to speak. Like, I think it's kind of dumb to kind of pass on Bailey.
And for me, one of the ones that we mentioned early on, where's Luke Harper in all this?
Well, Luke Harper maybe.
What?
Maybe Dunzo. Did you see that tweet he posted?
No.
I'll pull it up. Hold on. He posted.
Can I pick another guy or what?
You can.
Okay.
You can.
Then, anyways, I'd probably then go with somebody who would probably be good at maybe at a SmackDown for right now, and that's AIW Austin Aries.
Yeah.
I mean, just having him on TV again would be nice.
Oh, you know, now that I think about it, since Heath was kind of the obvious one, you know who I would have said was a big snub? Ty Dillinger.
Ooh.
I think because he was one of the ones that was like rumored to be called up. I think he deserves it because, like I said, he's worked hard. He's worked hard for a long time. He's been in wrestling and WWE for a long time.
He was Stan.
He was Stan. He was someone in the new ECW like in 2008. And he's gotten himself over now. Like he's really gotten himself over. Like I don't know. Yeah, he seems like kind of a snub. By the way, the Luke Harper tweet was he tweeted tonight, "Thank you. See you soon. goodbye forever, numeral 93 ...
Well,
Okay.
look for Luke Harper as Brody Lee very soon in AIW and Chikara.
Yeah. I was going to say, if WWE dropped the ball on Luke Harper, that is the biggest fucking snub
Yes.
of all time.
Yeah.
Because you are dumb.
So, next question. Since we got the snub, Sorg, I'm going to start with you. Who is this draft's sleeper pick? Like
Sleeper pick.
who in maybe not this month, maybe in a couple months, do you see this being a good draft pick for? Like who benefits more from this draft pick happening?
Who?
I got mine.
So, like, who's going to rise above? You think? Like, who's gonna really kind of stick out in this thing?
Like besides the big names,
Besides the big names, you know, there was some really interesting things being said by Dolph Ziggler tonight after being drafted to SmackDown. He did get drafted kind of high up there. So and again in a brand split before is where he did become the first time a world heavyweight champion. And actually the second time too under the brand split or the two titles. I think
It was when they were doing like the super show thing.
they're doing the super shows like him and Del
Technically,
Rio.
there was two brands, but everyone else.
So this could be an opportunity for him to get another shot to do something pretty great. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So I think he's talented enough to do it, but in every opportunity he has, he goes. You can't deny every opportunity he has. He goes like $1 million, but it's what they're doing to him that's like, okay, that makes it feel flat more than his performance of the thing. You know what I mean? I think sometimes you just can only do so well in the position you're given. So,
but like you were saying, he was doing those matches against Baron Corbin how many nights in a row?
Right.
And so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do.
That kills both guys, guys. Remember when we were having Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston like every week on SmackDown?
Yeah,
we're like,
it was like, oh, we got best of 97 series.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Why do you think that's okay? You know, how is that?
Because they do flippy things,
is
and
it a
Dolph
rib?
Ziggler can sell like a monster.
Is it a rib against those guys and the fans? What's going on with that? And I'm hoping we don't fall into that. If we start seeing that on SmackDown and Raw, then get ready to check out, guys. And they're going to be in trouble.
I think we won't see it on SmackDown. I think we have a chance of seeing it on Raw just because it's 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
By the way, I put out the first question about who got snubbed. And we have two guys, our friends Sheep the Moon and Brendan Castioli, both saying Bailey. She should be owning the women's division in WWE. And again, Bailey, but she's coming to Battleground, so
yeah.
So that's again resounding on that one. We'll put your other big question out there, just like who the dark horse of this, right? Yeah. Eamon?
Mine's also going to be from SmackDown. Mine's Baron Corbin.
Oh, wow.
I think Baron showed on NXT that he can be good. He can do really good stuff when given direction and given a story. And with a lighter roster, with more time to develop stuff like this, I think he can blossom on some place like SmackDown.
Okay. And for me, I'm in between two, but I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with, why not? Darren Young.
Mm-hmm.
Just Darren Young. Like, I've loved everything he's been doing, and I think the shorter roster will help him bloom out even more. And it doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't hurt that he's with Bob Backlund right now, which is amazing. The quote that Bob Backlund has been saying to him the entire time during his interview was just brilliant. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. For the ones who don't know what he said. Let's see.
That has been great. I think it's a good mix while you're looking for that.
It was the constant tendency to relapse into barbarianism. He just kept repeating that over and over again, pointing at him with his shoulder up in the air like that, pointing at him, and it was just, I want more of this. And by the way, he and Titus O'Neil were like buddies for some reasons. Again,
Good.
Yeah, they can do so much with Darren Young, and I kind of want to see a tag team with Jack Swagger too. I don't know why, but I just want a Jack Swagger, Darren Young tag team with Bob Backlund as their manager, as their Zeb Coulter.
I think that'd be fun.
I can see it. That could be a lot of fun, actually. That's so weird. Mm-hmm. So, like, Bob Backlund could be the Paul Ellering of these guys.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So, next question. Simple question. Because I don't really want to give too much, to the time here. But what would your grade be for SmackDown?
The show or going forward?
The draft.
The roster.
I was gonna say, based off the draft, I'll give SmackDown a B-, because I do think they were kind of lackluster in the opening round, but I do think they made up for it in the second round.
What would you do different?
Go after some other.
Not Eva Marie.
No. I don't have a problem with Eva Marie. I would say go after some stronger people in the opening round. Like, I think, as much as I like her, I think Becky Lynch was taken a little too early. I think Miz was taken definitely too early. There were still some great people on the board before, like Del Rio, I think, was kind of a wasted pick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorg?
I give them an A- and I'm factoring in, and I'm grading on a curve, okay? Because you can't expect that especially with the stacked like picking system. I didn't expect like a Brock Lesnar to drop over there. I didn't expect a lot of I'm surprised, and AJ Styles and John Cena being on that show does bump it up a whole bunch, So I think that's pretty good. I think it's a good mix of people, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So I'm going to go an A-.
Okay. And for me, I'm going to do a Daniel Bryan and say B+. Just go right in between both of you guys. I agree that the star power alone, it seems like early days of NXT, these unknowns going to be with some of the knowns in WWE, because you didn't have stars like John Cena come down there. You had Titus O'Neil and all that stuff, all those guys, but now you have John Cena that can help tutor some of the younger generation stars that need some help.
Yeah.
Like a Breezango, or, man, I love saying that name, or just having those guys to get together and having AJ there doing the same thing is making that a lot better. And I can't wait. I want to see what happens. I'm not going to. I mean, I know I said I'm not going to watch it, but I'll probably watch it, and I'll probably like it.
You want dream matches, man?
It all depends. It all depends on how they write the show.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. You want dream matches? Just AJ Styles and pick people on the roster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
If they take this in a sort of shoot route and have Stephanie and Shane actually kind of booking the shows, and being kind of maybe the head of the writing staff or whatever for those shows, I would be very interested. I'd be very interested in SmackDown. I think Shane has enough ideas and can do a lot in complete shoot with that roster.
My worry is the way. So Raw has been very sanitized. SmackDown has been very. Our main products on TV are very sanitized, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. There's a formula. Blah 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 blah. We just put in some new faces and plugging them in the formula, right? And that's been kind of the problem for a lot of us. We're like, this is the same thing. What? You know, there's glimmers of hope in there, but really, as much as we have been really kind of enjoying, I think, as a whole, what they've been doing, it's been like it's not as exciting as it could be. It needs to. I'm worried that we're just going to have two shows with different faces, still kind of doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And I want it to be SmackDown's hot doing over here under Paul Heyman. This guy, you know, this is doing the good over here under this person, and it's I want it to feel as different as it used to be, you know, and I want it to say, man, Raw really like we're going to have a beginning of week war. Okay, who won, Raw or SmackDown? And maybe that's a question that we're going to ask here on Tuesday nights. Okay, who's your winner? Who won the WWE war?
Yeah.
Raw, SmackDown, or NXT and CWC last week? You know, I mean, really, there is you know, showing 5, 6, 7 hours of the same stuff every week doesn't work, or has been not working as well as it used to. So you gotta mix it up. And I think, you know, people saying, well, I'm not watching SmackDown. Good. Okay. Keep watching Raw. Or some people saying, well, I got to go see John Cena over here, or I got to go see AJ Styles over here. Good. Yeah. Keep watching SmackDown. You have something to do on Monday nights. Go watch Gotham when it comes back. Whatever. Don't spoil me. So no, I think that's, you know, we don't expect you to watch all the things. They don't expect you to watch all the things. They just hope you watch as much of it as you possibly can.
And last question.
Last question.
How about Raw? The Raw roster as it is right now.
A.
I'll give Raw
A.
an A-.
A.
An A-?
Full on A.
Yeah, I'm going all A too. I mean it's to the point where Sorg, I was listening to you and I was going, with the Raw roster right now, you won't get any of that now. Raw is going to look a lot different next week. Mm-hmm. Raw is going to be strange because
it's a strange land. I'll see you in section 206 of the strange new land, Triz.
I won't be there because I work until like 7:30 in the evening, and I'm
damn you, Riz.
But just the fact that they have to change that the dark match dark match now is going to be amazing because you're probably going to get Finn Balor. You are going to get Finn Balor.
Wait, what is the dark match? What is the dark match for those that haven't seen? I was looking at that actually earlier today.
It was John Cena, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns versus Chris Jericho, Seth Rollins, and AJ Styles. Holy crap, I remember that off the top of my head.
Wow. By the way, these dark matches sometimes won't happen or not happen anywhere near advertised. So, and this is the match that they do after Raw, so they make sure everybody goes home happy, you know. Yeah.
Well, they're already gone by then.
What?
They are already gone. Like, half the people there are gone.
Right. But still, for those to say, it's still a general, like, let them go home happy, the ones that want to, you know.
But if next week on Raw, we are sitting here going, that Raw was the same Raw that we've seen in the past few years,
we have a problem.
Yes. Because it's not. Mm-hmm. It's going to look a lot different, and it's going to look a lot better, in my opinion.
Hopefully,
because you won't have the same matches over and over again.
Hopefully, we see the Cruiserweight belt debut next week.
Hopefully. and then Hornswoggle can come and win it again.
Yeah, when they're not suing him for using his own picture. Yeah. All right.
But yeah, that was a good analysis, guys.
That was good.
Yeah, fun
He
stuff.
broke it all down just to build it back up again.
I am the Riz Kuiper Jr. here.
So, guys, we'll see you in about 5 years when the SmackDown Raw NXT Super Show comes to your town. When we bring it all back together again. Does anybody
What the
remember?
hell? Let's just bring back ECW.
I have a big question 5. Do you remember why we were clamoring for them to rejoin the roster together? Does anybody recall? Like what? I remember like we have to go back and listen to an old Wrestling Mayhem show around when that happened. But
Right.
what was our gripe?
Because I know.
Okay.
It's probably because after a while they stopped doing that. They stopped doing Raws and SmackDowns separate and just said, "Hey, we're just gonna mix them up a little bit. Maybe trade some superstars for one night and make SmackDown watchable again, and then maybe we can do something for Raw, and then maybe we do a Super Show which will have both Raw and SmackDown, and then why don't we just
But was it? I feel like we had tag titles and we had the women's titles, and it just felt like none of it mattered because there was like
that's
too
the-
many belts.
And it got to that point where WWE was getting more saturated and kind of how you mentioned, kind of clean in a sense, not in like language or anything, but like with their presentation. So nothing was different about the two shows.
Yeah.
So everything was just kind of like bland.
And I hope
and especially like you draft people so often that like I like the earlier draft because it was like even at the early stages you're like these guys represent those brands. Like to me, Kurt Angle for the longest time was intrinsically SmackDown.
yeah.
Like he was a SmackDown wrestler. He was not a Raw. Like when he's on Raw, it's weird. Like
Yeah, because they built those up under those brands for so long. It's like it's like pulling hell, like AJ Styles. You're just like, wow, this guy is like Mr. TNA, and here he is on Raw with John Cena, right? Like still, like that's how you identify him until you don't anymore. Same with Hulk Hogan and WCW for the longest time, right? For those that were around for that, it's like this feels awesome yet wrong at the same time. What's happening here? You know, yeah, that kind of stuff. All right, guys. Well, we did ask here towards the end of SmackDown what we usually ask during the day on Tuesdays on podcast day. What did you learn from wrestling this week? Oh, before I forget, in the chat room, Wheels is saying B plus SmackDown, B Raw. So I had that out there. And we're still getting responses saying Bailey got snubbed coming up on Twitter since we asked that. And actually, sorry, before we get to that, I want to check in. We do have another probably 23 hours or something for our Twitter poll we put out earlier tonight. Let me pull up those answers right now. I'm trying to use this Twitter machine a bit more. I said, whose show is looking better? I auto-corrected and missed the whose show. Sorry about that, guys. With 67 votes already in, actually, is the final results. Raw 64% over SmackDown 36%. So, and that's just a flat. What do you think is better? So there you go. Just from the rosters that were picked as of I guess the end of SmackDown when we put that out there. So guys, what did you learn from wrestling this week?
Eamon, I'll let you go first.
oh, I learned from wrestling this week that Enzo Amore is quite the eloquent speaker.
Indeed.
I don't know if anyone saw the Cruiserweight Classic video promo he did.
Oh,
But,
no. No, I didn't.
Oh boy.
Can you elaborate on that?
He talked about apartheid at one point, and
What?
there was a lot of. Yeah. Did you not watch it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you should watch it. He puts on. I claim that what I refer to it as, he puts on his white guy voice, which I didn't know was a thing he could do, and it's very strange to listen to. But it's very fun. It's very, very fun. You should watch it immediately.
Oh, wow. We're still getting grades from the big questions, too, Riz, on Twitter. Sorry. Riz, what did you learn this week?
I learned that Jerry Lawler not knowing the actual names and getting angry at Mauro Ranallo for telling him what the name of a dive is makes me cringe that he's still employed.
Tonight was a night of like, oh man, I haven't listened to Jerry Lawler commentary in a while. Oh, I've been listening to Jerry Lawler commentary.
Like every time he says something, it's like, Dad, shut up. Dad,
a little bit.
No,
a little bit.
Like, I love that Sami Zayn's big drafting was just of Jerry Lawler being like, well, that was a dumb pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, after he got chokeslammed.
But really, is that much different than
chokeslammed.
JBL in the long run? I want to know what happens to Byron Saxton, to be quite honest. I don't think that was clear. I don't think that was clear. All right. From Twitter, what did people learn? Ashley, New Age Amazon, learned that I really want to play putt-putt with the Ascension.
Yeah.
And so is Matt Carlins, I'm sure. Those guys suck on Twitter. It says that a thin slice of fabric is not really a huge distance from testicles. And then I asked, what are you talking about? And he says, have you ever been pile driven? Worse yet, inverted driver? No, but I do remember our good friend Jason Gorey getting an in the tights pile driver by, what is his name? Dino something?
Oh, probably Dan Shoku Dino. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That was a curious.
He's the one, because he's the one that does the,
Yeah, the in
hey,
the
Sorg.
Yes.
Did you finish the Twitter one yet? Or
That
Facebook?
is all the Twitter ones, but I have more from Facebook.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. From Facebook, what did people learn? Jennifer on there says, Team Raw! I guess that's a learning
I
moment.
don't think that's what you learned.
Yeah, Bobby
Jen.
F. J-Town learned that Breezango is the best tag team for the second week in a row, but now they have competition in American Alpha. That feud's going to be awesome. Dan Hooven, Big Show is alive and is drafted before Cesaro. Oh, no, because he's American, of course. Alex Carr is out there in California. Great shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com/WMS. And check out his shirts on WhatAmaneuver.com, I believe it is. Alex Carr says he learned that Raw did the WWE Universe dirty with their picks and other announcements. All right. Trey Garcia, I'm in Iceland. You guys need to keep me updated. Be back in 2 weeks. That's not what we... Okay. Jeff in here says TNA sucks, but at least it doesn't have any McMahons, and I have 3 hours of free time on Mondays now. So I guess he was saying...
You're not watching Raw. Good job.
He's not watching Raw. So see, people are picking teams. What did I learn from wrestling this week? I'm trying to remember what I did this weekend. So I was reminded how much I love wrestler weddings. I shot a listen. I don't shoot weddings very often. They're typically family, friends, or pro wrestlers. So this was the third I was at, second I filmed, and I just learned that I miss Chuck Roberts as an announcer, because this is the second time I've seen him doing wedding introductions, and I forgot how awesome he is. And Riz, you may remember back in the day, like I'm sitting there and I'm filming him doing these introductions, and I'm like, I remember the Chuck is my homeboy T-shirts.
Yes.
That were going around, and this is when we, of course,
never got one of those.
And I didn't either. Like I think Spiker was making those or something.
Spiker, if you're listening,
which I think he does,
give me that T-shirt. Make another one and give me that T-shirt.
Just start wearing to the. Sorry, Plumber. Chuck is my homeboy.
or sorry, the new.
And of course, those who don't know, we're talking about the International Wrestling Cartel, our local one, and of course, I do filming for them as well.
By the way, Sorg. Mm-hmm. Ric Flair got engaged for the 5th time today.
Yeah, you know what was really weird? I looked at that picture and thought it was Britt Baker.
That's not a good sign.
Well, it does. It really does.
Like at first glance, I'm like, Ric Flair gets married, Britt Baker. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I talked about this on the show, but when Ric Flair was here last time for IWC, he was making eyes at Britt Baker. And made a comment about her, like from the ring, and she was like over by the tech table and everything, and blushing it up. But Yeah. I don't
I can't
know.
wait till we have Britt back on the Indie Mayhem show. Our first question: so, how's it like being married to Ric Flair?
What does Rick smell like?
What is-
duh.
we could
Old
ask that,
people.
but I don't think you want to know the answer. So,
Old people in Bengay
yeah.
and alimony.
So, guys, thank you so much. Great talking wrestling with you. Thank you, guys. Please kick with us here. Our new time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Somebody remind me to fix it on the website. It still had like 2 times ago. I forgot to update. 10 p.m. Eastern time, live.wrestlingmayhemshow.com. We'll be on directly after WWE SmackDown Live. Which means it's going to be part of the SmackDown logo for like 6 months. But anyways, thank you so much. Of course, Riz, Riz plays games on the YouTube, and of course the Boss Battle podcast. Look for it. Look for the Boss Battle podcast on iTunes.
Yes.
Yes. And also the voice of Inspire. Damn it, the voice of Inspire Pro Wrestling, Eamon Payton at Eamon2 Please on the Twitter.
Yes, indeed. InspireProWrestling.com.
And of course, I'm at Sorgatron, SorgatronMedia.com for all the things we're doing wrestling and otherwise, but most of the wrestling is over at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Breaking hot off the presses, there is an article about the Vampiro, or in some countries, Vampiro, interview that you guys did impromptu on the Midweek War last week. Some details that were revealed during that, but check out the Midweek War. Krista Joseph, co-executive producer of the Lucha Underground show, also joined you guys on not only the Lucha Underground recap, but the NXT and Impact Wrestling recap.
Then find out what he thinks about Vanguard 1.
Also find out what he thinks about Finn Balor's entrance. I thought that was kind of curious too. Considering
I know what Vampiro thinks about Matt Hardy. Spoiler alert, he doesn't know who that is.
No way. Okay. Alrighty. So thank you so much. Check out everything WrestlingMayhemShow.com, and as usual, drop us a line 412-206-WMS0. Good times
Good times.
at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Oh no, something came up. We'll talk about that after the show, and so many other things. Check it out, Wrestling Mayhem Show. Thank you so much. Mayhem out. All right,
Yay.
thank you so much, guys. Wheels, can someone, Eamon, can you invite Wheels in? Because I got to know what the fuck this is about.
Okay, sure. I'm probably going to have to head off, though.
Okay, can you invite him in on your way out? Stream, thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see you guys next time.